Hello my friends. Fans of the channel will know that I love a good narrative experience.
You are a brotherhood man, eh?
With some standout examples appearing on the channel especially recently. Games where you can just get totally absorbed into the world, and hours just seem to zoom by. Outer Wilds did that for me, despite my own idiocy getting in the way somewhat. Oh, my shit face. Another game that did that for me was Disco Elysium, a narrative experience that I couldn't seem to put down, and have not really experienced anything like it since. Well, until now. When publisher Owlcat Games reached out to sponsor a look into their upcoming game, Rue Valley, developed by a Motion Spark studio. Seeing that it was a very similar style to one of my favorite narrative games of all time, I'll admit, I still wasn't sure. But then, I played the demo they sent. Safe to say now I am very excited to see what this full release will bring. An hour or so of an alpha that is now available for everyone, that not only drew me in, but actually made me think about who I am as a human. Pretty wild for a game. And if you too are wondering, let me take you on a journey into what I saw. A little glimpse into what could possibly be the next narrative RPG blockbuster. A huge thank you to Owlcat for sponsoring this early dive into Rue Valley. Rue Valley opens with the task of assigning our protagonists personality points, getting to assign levels for impulsiveness, sensitivity, and our level of how introverted or extroverted we are, with descriptions to indicate what kind of impact these stats will have on our personality. For example, with swinging the impulsiveness all the way, it's reading, "You're so extremely heedless and restless you probably won't finish reading this sentence." Each one of these stats also has with it its own traits, which are unlocked once enough points are spent, and can be swapped out with others on the same line. So with our playthrough going with a little arrogant, guilt-ridden, totally reckless fellow. Very much the Evel Knievel moonlighting as a crypto scammer end result. Now, before we begin, there was a particular moment when playing through this that my mind shifted, from feeling like this was quite a typical feeling experience, to something that suddenly pulled me in. See if you can spot it. The game opens with our protagonist Eugene, in a therapy session with a Dr. Fink, with the frenetic sound of a century-old clock nudging him back into the present. The stale air perfectly complementing the image of the old motel room.
Still with me, Mr. Harrow?
The doctor inquires, as we notice that Eugene's current mood has led to a total lack of motivation, with the doctor picking up on this and reassuring us that he will be dealing with our state of mind in the upcoming sessions.
The silence befalls the room, a muffled sound of clanging from the outside only making the moment more uncomfortable.
With the doctor asking if we have any questions, we get to see the personality stats come into play, with our arrogant and impatient traits allowing for alternative responses. The game's piercing soundtrack also punctuating Eugene's clear state of restlessness. The doctor explains that these sessions are taking place in the middle of nowhere in Rue Valley to help Eugene disconnect.
This place is ideal in that regard. However, it's understandable that you need a period of adaptation to both this idea and to your new surroundings.
Eugene attempts to convince the doctor to just pack it all in, while finding out some more key details around these sessions in the process.
Mr. Harrow, that is out of the question. This is a court-ordered therapy, and both of us could be fined or worse if we don't see it through.
With the session concluded, we head out the door. Heading outside, we find a woman battering a vending machine.
Give me my coffee, you jerk!
Eugene, however, in his current state, does not have the courage to get involved, nor the motivation to even speak to her, so shuffles over to the motel office to get the key to his room. It's in the office we come across a young woman who is far too busy talking with someone on the phone to deal with our room key.
Giant donut sign. I have no idea where you are.
Despite a social check attempting to get her attention, she still remains fixated on her call. However, as Eugene, following our stat choices, has the arrogant trait, we are able to escalate things, shouting and demanding her attention. With Eugene still being ignored, he begins to get enraged, going full-blown Karen mode, demanding to speak to the manager, which to his surprise also does absolutely nothing to get her attention.
Yes. Now, turn right, and then immediately take a slight left.
And in a rather petty move, thanks to his reckless trait, decides to steal the pen she was using from right under her nose, retreating back to one of the office chairs to seethe and revel in his tiny victory, trying to pass the time scrolling mindlessly on his phone.
No, it wouldn't. We need them today.
Becoming more impatient, he stands up and peers out of the dirty office window, taking in the empty parking lot, with only barren desert stretching out as far as the eye can see, its emptiness drawing him in. Here we are asked if we wish to contemplate this profound sight, with Eugene opting for the much more mature option of smudging his sweaty fingers all over the window glass, spending frankly an embarrassing amount of time creating his personal work of art on the office window from sweat and grease, after what seems like an age, with the young lady at last finishing her conversation.
I'm so sorry for the wait.
Eugene bellows out his outrage, leaving the girl a little bit shaken up, and leading to one of Eugene's internal thoughts that made me legitimately laugh out loud.
She makes a face as if she's about to burst into tears. Is she mocking you?
The girl, suspiciously snapping back to Peppy, looks to hand us our keycard, while getting quite excited over the new age method of unlocking the motel's rooms.
You were expecting an old-fashioned key, weren't you? Well, we've decided to modernize for a number of reasons.
Thanks to our reckless trait, we don't have to listen to any more of her ramblings, getting to snatch away the card in frustration.
Wow. All right. I'll need your signature here. Sorry. There was supposed to be a pen, but I must have misplaced it.
Well, this is a bit awkward, and made even more awkward by Eugene pulling out the very same pen to finish off his arduous transaction. With his key at last in hand, Eugene heads back outside to get set up in his room. Heading up the stairs and shuffling over to number 6, he takes in his new home, at least for the time being. Checking out the bathroom, Eugene stares into the mirror, its splotches making interesting patterns on his face, concealing a dark circle here, a mole there, a patch of wrinkles.
I've wasted my life so far, and now I'm getting old. You're not as old as you look. Half of it is probably just poor hydration. You have more than enough time left to waste,
He thinks, his mind swiping at him. Heading back into his room, Eugene contemplates the motel bed, while also ruining any future Airbnbs for me while pondering. But one object still blocks his way, his own suitcase. His initial reaction being that he can't deal with it now, and just wants to put it away. But Eugene's mind challenges him once again. Left with 2 options from his traits, Eugene is shook into action, and opens the suitcase, doing the bare minimum at distributing his belongings. Eugene finally gets to enjoy some comfy, much-needed rest, beginning with epically face-planting into the bed. In a gross move causing a cloud of dust and skin particles to rise up. Struggling to turn his mind off, we flick through the feeds on his phone in an attempt to relax, interrupted by an unexpected call indeed.
Hello, sir. Am I speaking with Eugene Harrow? Well, Mr. Harrow, I am so pleased to have finally reached you. My name is Percy Rugger, and I'm a senior sales executive at Ulterior Paralegal Exploits Consultancy. We'd like to offer our help regarding your case. Well, if my information is correct, you have recently been unjustly forced to participate in a treatment which, in our opinion, may have consequences not aligned with your best interests. Now, I'm sure you're quite concerned about it, Mr. Harrow, but don't worry, we're here to help you regain your rights.
The curious company agent offers to assist Eugene in getting out of his current situation. Without knowing who this is or how they can help him, Eugene accepts his offer.
I'll write down your general consent here and forward your case to my colleagues in our paralegal department. They'll contact you shortly. Well, Mr. Harrow, it was a colossal pleasure talking with you. Tschüss.
Before getting to respond, the line goes dead, closing out this highly mysterious call. And it only takes a few more minutes bleeping around on his phone for Eugene to finally drift off to sleep. It's here we are able to revisit key moments from the past few hours, reliving speaking to the doctor.
Still with me, Mr. Harrow?
Eugene's inner thoughts criticizing him for being such a weak man.
He's so boring you almost fell asleep, and you apologize to him? You're such a doormat.
The apprehension to speak to the woman at the vending machine. The way he spoke to the receptionist.
You were so full of yourself. She probably despises you now, like everyone else.
The unexpected caller.
My name is Percy Rugger, and I'm a senior sales executive at Ulterior Paralegal Exploits Consultancy.
Eugene's mind now spinning. The carousel of recent experiences turns into a cyclone of painful memories, repressed thoughts and strange images. A figure of his angry father towering over him.
It's not up to you to decide anymore. Not after what you've done.
Using his traits battling back against the painful memory.
You can't do this to me. I am my own man.
Flames igniting inside, spewing into a wildfire of defensive rage. Eugene's heartbeat accelerates. Images are frantically searching through belongings in the dark. A dusty attic full of broken furniture and random clutter emerges, finding nothing. Then Eugene sees himself walking through a desert, his mind fixed on the guide in front of him, trying to keep up their steady pace, the distance growing ever larger between them, before he gives up, collapsing into the cracked earth below, this spot becoming his grave, the sun beating down the executioner. And with this we are tasked with handling these painful memories, to forget about them, or maybe even confront them. But alas, when attempting to do so, we are told that we lack the willpower. These memories will have to linger on a while longer, as it stands right now, they cannot be resolved. Not yet. Snapping back into reality, we hear a sound of a screeching engine outside, head still spinning and throat dry. It was apparently foolish to hope to fall asleep. Dragging himself to the bathroom, Eugene sips on some water from the tap, an endeavor he immediately regrets, getting a mouthful of the motel's ongoing sewage issues. Now even more dehydrated, he heads outside in search of some drinkable water.
God damn it! Come on, start, you piece of shit!
Contemplating if this driver is drunk or another one of the doctor's patients, we head downstairs to seek out something to drink. Getting the fright of a lifetime after leaving the stairs, Eugene's heart now racing from the sudden shock. Shuffling to the ice machine, there is no other choice but to suck on some ice to rehydrate, with Eugene's impatience due to his stats leading to him chewing down on it, despite the pain on his teeth to speed things up, when suddenly the night sky turns blood red, and he feels an infinite scream passing through everything. His first thought is to hide, granting him another status on his character. Eugene is left with nothing to do but to stand and accept his fate, as the whole sky turns to fire. Closing his eyes, he asks in desperation,
How do I stop?
to which his mind responds,
That's easy. Simply stop being you.
With the piercing sound of the clock, Eugene finds himself back in the therapy session
Still with me, Mr. Harrow?
we found him in at the beginning of our story, but this time having an internal battle with himself after what he just witnessed.
Mr. Harrow, you're shaking. Are you feeling unwell?
Trying as hard as he can not to totally break down, losing this battle, and now drifting into a full-blown panic attack, Eugene's heart pounds out of his chest.
Easy, Mr. Harrow. You're not having a heart attack or anything similar. Trust me. You are just getting too much oxygen.
Getting a grip on himself, we go through the motions answering the doctor's questions, with this time him giving us a pill to help us sleep, something that Eugene takes from him without a thought. Finishing up the session, it's back to pick up the key once more. This time the young lady gets another call while on the phone, most likely the doctor calling through to warn her of our frantic state of mind. With no need to create a sweaty masterpiece on the window this time, wandering over to his room and heading straight to the bathroom, we neck the pill the doctor gave us and sit down to try and relax. Staring blankly into the room, we once again receive the call offering to help us out of this situation, this time turning it down. Hanging up the phone and feeling the pill getting to work, finally falling asleep in the chair. Now back in his slumbering mind, we revisit the terror of the night before, the crashing thunder, the angry driver, and the fire in the sky. Was it real? Was it just the dream of a lunatic? Eugene wonders. Expecting more thoughts and images, his mind starts to slow down, his consciousness lightening up the feverish grip on him. Just as Eugene begins to let go, he notices a tiny spark of light that seems to have taken root inside of him. He assumes that it must have broken away from the lightning he experienced earlier, a spark without shape, still without purpose but full of potential. With the sound of the loudest thunder jerking him out of his slumber, a speck of energy, now fully grown, is pulsating in his chest. Eugene remembers this feeling, and with it losing his lack of motivation status finally. But he's not done there. Thinking that he needs to find out if the driver would show up again. After all, it was the very same night. Hood up and wandering back through the pouring rain, he does not see the vehicle, but decides to check the transformer for evidence of the impact.
I'm such a great detective.
he says to himself. Rummaging around, he finds some shards of what looks to be a tail light.
So it has to be true.
His mind confirms. But before he can wrap his head around all this, the night sky once again sets ablaze.
What will happen now?
He worries.
Will you find yourself back at Dr. Fink's office in a moment?
He wonders.
Will you remember anything?
Now back in the session once more, Eugene finally breaks, explaining it all to the doctor. The lightning, the sky ablaze, the time loop.
I don't think I follow, Mr. Harrow. Would you care to elaborate?
And that was an early look into Rue Valley. Hopefully you can see what I mean now, with the game gradually getting more and more intriguing, along with doing such a great job of simulating being inside the mind of someone going through all these hardships, both internally and externally, experimenting with the main character's actions to uncover the mysteries of the time loop. And when it comes to the story, I for one really wanted to keep playing. It's worth bearing in mind that the game is still in pre-alpha, so there are still environments, characters, animations and voice acting that are still in placeholder phase. If you're interested in getting a chance to play yourself, head down to the description where you can wishlist it and join the open alpha on Steam. I'm really keen to get your thoughts on this one, as I felt that it was a really great fit after we've been diving into a lot of really well-produced narrative games recently. Thanks once again Alcat for reaching out and sponsoring a look into a very interesting looking RPG indeed, as well as of course a massive thank you to my patrons as always. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.